the Eyes Wide Open episode 2 interview segment. We have a visitor from Georgia. She's stopping in here for a family reunion. She's also a relative of somebody on this podcast. We're not going to mention who,
Can't say
but
who.
you could probably guess who it is. Julian, I'm looking at you. Okay, but let's hear a little bit about what brought her into town.
Well, just here, I guess it's been about, almost 4 years since I've seen Mom and everyone. We actually have an uncle coming down from Canada, which we haven't seen, I want to say, in about
Oh man,
20 years?
20 years,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's got to be about 20 years. It's crazy because everybody gets so caught up in doing their own thing in life, and before you know it, the years are rolling into 10, 15, 20.
We were just talking about that. This is what happens when me and Julie were mentioning, as people get older, time frames stretch out. You start telling stories, you don't remember if that was 10 years ago or 5 years ago. Happens the same way with family, where last time I saw my uncle, he was my age now.
Right.
That's how crazy it is.
And the last time I saw my cousin, she was younger than my youngest daughter.
Yeah, she was a little.
It's just crazy. Even with the work week,
Yeah.
you come in on a Monday, and before you know it, you're entering into another Monday.
Yeah.
The week
Oh,
just
my
kind
goodness.
of goes by in a blur.
Yeah. When you get older, things just blend together. Yeah, you have like a bad Monday, and before you know it, you're preparing for the weekend.
Exactly.
Oh man, it's crazy.
It is crazy.
So tomorrow is Veterans Day. Tomorrow is where all the festivities happen. We're gonna meet these people, these old people. They're coming off a boat. We're picking them up.
These people we barely know. It's been 20 years.
Because in United States, that's a United States thing where your life is so separated. In Guyana, I remember growing up, it seemed like everybody was just there. They would get together, and one of the most fun times that we would talk about is doing a blackout. United States people don't even know what a blackout
man,
is.
yeah.
The power would go out for
Well, California knows of blackouts.
California
Yeah.
knows.
For
Gavin
reference,
Newsom.
Google.
Gavin Newsom.
New scum.
I call him New Scum.
Ruined California. Ruined.
But yeah, during the blackout, the whole family would get together and they would tell their version of ghost stories, basically.
Oh yeah, Jumbie stories.
Jumbie.
Yeah.
And the thing is, you would tell these ghost stories, and then, the power's back on. All right, kids, go to bed.
Oh, and you'd be shaking in your sheets. They forgot about all the festivities, and we would have to go to sleep thinking about this kind of stuff.
And the stories were never far off stories of something that happened 50 years ago.
It was yesterday.
It was yesterday, and the person who they're accusing of being a vampire lives next door.
Yep, lives next door, and if you see a little candle flicker in the window, you didn't know if that was her eyes, if that was a fire, somebody's body burning. You just, as a kid, your imagination takes it from 1 to 100.
Yeah, and that reminds me of, we'll get into a little politics stuff, but that reminds me, talking about all these Guyanese stories, we actually have to defend Kamala Harris. We have the same phrase in Guyana. It's just that when she said that phrase, nobody knows what she's talking about. What's wrong with you guys? You guys think you just fell from a coconut tree?
Yeah, it's a very common Caribbean term. However, if you don't give the backstory and kind of use it in a reference, no one's going to get it.
Yeah,
you're just
nobody knows
awful.
what you're talking about.
I mean, we also went through the club Shay Shay. We're going to, later on, this will be probably
that might be a
chopped
whole
up
podcast
episode further down the line.
Yeah.
But we actually found a little snippet where she was actually herself.
Yes,
there was one
she
little
was
minute
honest.
area where we kind of felt like, oh man, we felt pitiful for her. But I don't know. I kind of feel like she was also thrown under the bus along with.
I feel bad for her. I'm a Kamala Harris sympathizer.
Yeah, I must say he doesn't have me on board completely with this Kamala Harris sympathy thing.
I feel just so bad for her. It just reminds me of an old Indian lady just trying to make her way in this game. That's right. I don't know how black she is because she grew up with her mom. Every time we see pictures of the family, it's mom. She said she had a family, like aunts and uncles and all that, and they all look Indian to me. They're all wearing Indian garb. She grew up in this Indian culture, and then for political expediency, all of a sudden she's black, but she's also Indian.
I think what's becoming more just apparent in society is that people are tired of the identity politics stuff. It's becoming very redundant, very old, I mean, case in point, no one gives a crap what race she is, what sex she is when we're eating noodles for 4 years. You know?
Yeah. We should definitely get into that because so racist. Just to say that America is going to be a minority white country. However, they're still going to occupy 48%. So that means what is the other 52%? Is it all one other race? Like, no. They just lump everybody into one group.
Right.
Brown and black people.
Brown and black people.
Yeah.
I think in general, what's becoming very apparent in this country is that you put all these different categories in silos.
Yeah.
And the Democratic Party has become so accustomed to that one silo just automatically going into their bucket.
Yeah.
Their bucket of voters. That's theirs. They don't have to work for it. Regardless if they admitted it or not, what happened in this election was not expected. It was a melting pot of votes, which is what America is based on. It was all demographics. It was all race. It was just everybody came together, which is America's foundation to begin with.
Yeah.
So we just need to stop it. We need to empty out the silos and just look for voters, for Americans. Because at the end of the day, we all want the same thing.
You have to have general principles and not try to placate to different groups. And because it just becomes insulting. It's like, oh, what do black people want? It's like,
Right.
How about what do people want?
Correct.
And the people that you should try to say, what do Americans want?
Exactly.
They want to be left alone, not too much restrictions, but they also want to be safe. So you need a good police force. They also want to be able to drive to work,
They want
not
good
be given
education
money.
for their children.
Yes.
You know, they don't want to be taxed to death. Mm-hmm. We don't want high skyrocketing inflation, and then it drops 1 point, and you're saying it's going down, but it's still at the level where it,
Oh yeah, that drives me insane. When everyone's like, "Well, inflation's coming down," it's never going down. First of all, inflation never goes down. Inflation, by just the principles of how money works, as time goes by, you're always going to have inflation. It's written into the laws. Normally, you want to stay between 2 to 3% inflation. You want to keep it at that margin. So what happens when inflation skyrockets? It goes 12%, and it goes back down to 3%. People are like, well, inflation's going down. No, it never went down. Just the slope has gotten less steep. That's all it is.
Yeah.
So if you have if you're paying $1 for something, then you're paying $1.20 in 2 months, but then next month you're only paying $1.21. It didn't go down; it just went up at a slower rate, and nobody talks about that. Everybody just, I don't know if it's willful ignorance or they're actually lying.
I think it's just smoke and mirrors. I think they just put it out there and people don't research it. It
Yeah.
just becomes, these news. Just the news.
But that's
media
the
to
thing.
begin with.
I even hear popular people like Bill Maher said it the other day.
Yeah, it's just-
He said, well, inflation's coming down, and his guest, I don't remember her name, but she was on there, and she had to point out, no, it never came down. It just went back to normal rates.
Right.
But we now we're up here now.
Right.
We didn't go back down to the beginning.
Which
So-
probably, that's just not gonna happen.
And all that being said, you voted for Kamala, obviously.
Oh yeah.
Oh, sorry, Kamala. We should be
What I
able to
did
say that
was-
we're Indian.
What I did was
You lied to your husband.
I lied to my lied to my husband, and then I went in the booth and I voted for Trump. Now, I don't vote on people based on any kind of race or anything like that. If we had a bad woman that was just, I just knew she was going to deliver the goods, I would be the first person to line up and be on her team and cheer her on.
Like people they were big on Tulsi Gabbard, not in the Republican side, but Democratic side. And here's the thing: I speak about this all the time. Nobody mentioned this. I don't know why they don't mention this, but Hillary Clinton, she on the debate, she said Tulsi Gabbard is a mouthpiece for the Russians. She's a Russian plant. And it drives me insane. I was in the military. When you're in the military, you don't follow the same laws as everybody else. You pretty much you sold your body to the government. That's why they call you GI. You're government issued.
Right.
You sold your body and you're issued to whatever military branch you're in. So you go under a different set of laws called a UCMJ. So if you're saying Tulsi Gabbard is bought and paid for by the Russians, that means she is she's committing treason under UCMJ. She should be executed.
Right.
So someone should have mentioned that. They should have said, "Excuse me, Miss Clinton, are you saying you're accusing her of a serious crime? Are you saying this woman should be executed, tried and executed?" Because either you believe in what you're saying or you're just making
blatant
stuff up.
Lies. It's just blatant lies. Just completely crazy. I just really, really love. People think that oh my God, you worship Trump. I don't. I worship the disruption because it needed to happen.
Well, I mentioned that in my other interview when I was talking to the gentleman as a Kamala Harris supporter.
Yeah.
You say it's a cult, but when he said something people don't like, they booed him. And the thing is, Trump just rolls with the punches anyway. He wouldn't flip. He didn't flip.
What I like is that when you look at the two teams, we've got a pirate ship. We've got a band of pirates. I'll take it from Greg Gutfeld's line. Oh. We have a band of pirates, and it's a mishmash group of people. It's not just a person willing to fall in line.
Yeah.
When RFK switches teams, well, he said the team left him, which is what a lot of Democrats have said lately, and it seems to be the way the party's going. I'm going
to quote Rob Schneider, where he said, "The left has gone so far left, they left the country behind."
Which is true, and it shows.
Yeah, because
you hear that?
It just went...
It's the red wave, baby.
Yeah, they went too crazy. Well, like I said, it's most people... Remember... People didn't really start getting into like this voting, like in these large numbers. I don't think until Obama was the first one that like really brought people out.
Right.
And I'm not sure what that was. That was post Bush, and people were tired of the wars and all that, and they were just looking for someone to shake things up. He didn't pan out because they thought because he was a black guy, he wasn't part of the establishment.
Right.
People were looking for a non-establishment candidate. And they said, well, we all had all white guys. There's a black guy. He must be from some hidden area that we didn't hear about. But little did they know that he was the established candidate. Right. But the thing is, I was never really super into politics. I mean, I'm registered, no party affiliation since I registered to vote. I never even liked parties, Republican, Democrat. I've never been into it. But it's like when things don't make sense, you just kind of like your ears perk up. Like when somebody said, so when they started saying all this stuff about Trump, I'm just like, wait a minute, what are you talking about? It got my attention. I think a lot of people are like that. You're like, this guy is going to destroy democracy. Yeah. It's like, really? This guy?
And I think that's why Trump had such a huge following, because by nature, when you're younger, you always assume, okay, I'm in the Democratic Party, right?
Yeah.
Because they're for the people.
They're for the people.
And I remember, this was his first term when he ran for the first time. I remember watching the news and them saying, he hates immigrants. This man is against immigrants. And I thought to myself, I said, it's weird. Why would he say that if he's running in a country that's built on legal immigration? Why would he say something like that? That's borderline like crazy.
Yeah.
So I did my own research.
Oh, you're one of them, as Jimmy Dore says, we got us a reader here.
Yeah, from that point on, I became like, you can't trust anything. You just can't. Unless you've fact-checked it and done your own research. I never take the word of other people.
See, I never do research. I just operate by
common sense
and principles.
But the research came from common sense because my mind told me, who would say that? who would say that?
Yeah. And it's too hyperbolic.
Yeah.
And I understand that you get, I don't want to say the dumb voters. I don't want to say maybe low information.
Low information, yeah. And uninformed.
Yeah. Like they just listen to they just pretty much like, give me my marching orders. What's going on?
Right.
And the problem is they've been operating on that for a long time, and it's starting to break down. They don't have another playbook.
Right.
That's the thing about Democrats. They only have the one playbook. Just like with the thing with Hillary Clinton. They're like, what's going on with Trump? He works for the Russians. What about Tulsi? She works for the Russians.
Right.
What about this guy doesn't like you? Russia. It's like, come on, lady, come up with something else. You can't just have the one.
It's the old playbook of the racist card. homophobe, xenophobe, all the
Sexist,
phobes.
racist,
Yeah.
homophobic, xenophobic. They
It
have it
just,
all in a rhyme.
yeah, it just becomes, where people are getting, it just becomes moot because you can't show the proof of it.
You know what it is? The kids aren't reading the classics nowadays. The Boy Who Cried Wolf.
Yeah,
Just like-
they're not.
yeah, you
It's
cannot.
the they, them who's
Yeah.
crying wolf nowadays.
Yeah,
It's just-
you have to
Go back to the
save it.
basics.
Yeah, you have to. Well, you have to save it. If I'm the guy at work always complaining that somebody's going to destroy the business because they're using too many staples or something, I'm having a fit. Eventually, they're going to stop listening to me.
Right.
And when I walk into the back and I see somebody lighting some pallets on fire and I run back and say something, I've already lost all my credibility. It's
Right.
over.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
you lose all credibility,
Yeah.
basically.
So if somebody actually does come up, that's an actual fascist, we've already stopped listening.
And the crazy thing is, too, is that you have voters that are from these actual countries that have experienced this stuff. I mean, we're from a third world country. We've
Yep.
seen poverty. We've actually seen how it could be. So when you use these terminologies so loosely, we're just like, you're nuts.
Yeah.
Because you have no idea. And we were talking about this earlier. It should be required. High school students should do a week
In a third world country.
It should be
Yeah.
patriotic appreciation class 101.
Yeah.
Because if you haven't experienced what is not America, you will never appreciate what is America.
Yeah, they have to. I mean, it's just it's general insanity. And I always said, I think I know other people have said it, but I think I said it first. I never published it. But at a certain point, society becomes suicidal. It's just you're committing suicide because you're attacking young men, attacking the family, attacking all these people that are the backbone of society. Young men and families, that is society.
Right.
The families that provide the young men to, build society. That's just the way it goes. And you have to guide these people to be able to, fight your wars, build your bridges, but you have to give them a little bit of, respect.
Yeah, I just, I don't even associate, as soon as I hear a group of women start talking about men being worthless, this and that, I know that's not going to be my jive.
It's just nonsense.
I've just got to do an about face and walk away from it because it's crazy how it's become.
Yeah.
Beating down men. It's just, that's not...
But here's the thing. This is my controversial take. Whenever I hear people say that we need to help men and all that, you know what I say? I say, I don't care. You know why? Because it's your own suicide.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say it'll be like me trying to smack around a bunch of pit bulls and like do it at your own peril. It's
Right.
like you're committing suicide. You're doing something that's gonna ruin your life, your country. It doesn't work out. It never works out good for you.
Yeah, it's, and a lot of people have said, we're raising men that are from single mother homes, and it shows because you're trying to create what you think a man should be,
Yeah.
or a man that you would want.
Oh,
And
man.
it's a proven fact too. I look at how we grew up and how a household with two parent, it's very different. The dynamics are very different.
Yeah. And even though, our dad, that's a whole story, wasn't the best guy, but he had always something that I was telling my mom the other day that there was, because she said, not everybody is all bad.
No.
You can't say somebody's all bad.
No.
There's always good and bad to everything. Sometimes more good, sometimes more bad, but there's always both. And he was a very skillful guy, and I always saw that he could do and fix everything.
He was good in that way. He was a very smart guy.
Yeah.
I would say very, he could, like you said, look at anything.
Yeah.
He was a jack of all trades, but he was good at them.
He
If
had.
he put his mind to do anything, he would do it,
I remember when he had to fix there was a hole in his gas tank.
Oh, gosh.
And
was
he-
it the soap or so? What did he mix?
Yeah, first he just did a piece of soap to glue it temporarily before he got the parts to fix it. And when he brought it home the next day, and remember, this is before YouTube and all that. This is where you just had to look at things and figure it out. There was no, let me check a video.
Right.
Drop the gas tank, figured it out, patched it, put it back, perfect, just like that.
Yeah,
And I
was
mean, he wasn't a
definitely-
trained mechanic or anything. No, nobody in our family were trained mechanics, but they just knew how to fix things.
They just knew how to fix things, yeah.
Yeah.
And he also just was an artist. And
Yeah.
then we all three siblings were just born knowing how to draw.
Yeah.
And that's kind of transitioned
That's
to
a
my
genetic
daughter.
genetic.
It's a genetic
stuff.
trait
Yeah.
because she
Yeah.
was drawing at 2 years old. I have stuff I framed from her when she was little tiny.
Yeah.
So it went to her. So I always see a part of him in myself, and
Yeah.
I try to think I got the best parts of him.
Well,
So,
yeah.
I assume.
You got the all the parts, but you try to
I accentuate
minimize
the good ones. Right.
the bad
I
parts.
keep the bad ones down and I accentuate the good ones.
I wonder if you see, this is getting back to something I always say. I always disagree with people when they talk about like people who are adopted and things like that. I understand you have a loyalty to the people who actually raised you, they're actually good to you, but I always say that you should never lie to yourself because it only hurts you.
Right.
It only hurts you. So if you're saying, oh, well, you know what, my parents didn't care about me, I don't care about them, you know that's not true. You know it's not true. So it's only making it worse for you. If you're like, you know what, I care about them, but they didn't care about me, but whatever, there's nothing I can do about it, at least you have something, you're not lying, so at least you can feel better about it. And I would tell kids when I was a teacher that physical connection, even though people think, oh, it's emotional, this and that, physical connection is a thing.
Yeah.
You cannot help that. Listen, you, your mother and your father, you were made by physical pieces of these people.
Yeah.
There's no way for you to separate that. It is what it is. The pieces that came from their body created you. And for you to deny that that's some kind of connection is not good for your psychology, for your psyche.
Yeah, you have to be real with yourself. I actually know someone who's adopted. She was adopted and her mother was adopted.
Uh-huh.
And they both talked about it. She knew from day one, and they both agreed that they always felt a disconnect.
Yeah.
It was weird. She loved her parents.
Mm-hmm.
She loved the family she had, but there was always this kind of yearning. Like
Yeah.
Something is missing type of feeling. But you look at all these stories now, especially with Ancestry DNA, on all the different DNA things they have out there.
Yeah.
People are still looking.
Oh,
Some
God.
people have voluntarily opted out because they don't want to know.
Yeah.
But if you have it open, there's kids popping up that you've adopted out years ago. So that's opened up a whole new spectrum of things where some people may want to know, some people
Yeah.
don't want to know.
But yeah, but I never like the fact when people are like, nah, I don't want to know because I don't care about them. They gave me away. It's like, but you don't know the circumstances. You don't know if it could have been like a 15-year-old teenage mom. Maybe the
I
dad
would say
was
it's a
like,
much better option than the latter choice, right? That they had you and gave you
Yeah,
life.
yeah,
Because
at least you
after
exist,
you've
yeah.
lived, you can't imagine not living.
yeah.
So,
But I hate the coping thing. The coping thing. It'll be like equivalent to, I went to the ADCC championships yesterday, and I brought home the silver medal. But if someone's like, well, what do you think about the silver medal? You know what? I like the silver medal better than the gold. They're like, no, you don't. No, you don't. It's like
telling yourself that to stop the
just tell the
tears.
truth. It's like, yeah, much rather have the gold, but there's nothing you could do. You got what you got.
Right.
Like, oh, my favorite quote from the Brands brothers.
That's
Shout out to
another
Iowa
problem.
Wrestling.
That's another problem. It's the self-honesty thing. You can't
Yeah.
be honest with yourself.
Yeah, but the Brands brother always says, you get what you earn. You get what you earn.
Right.
Like, don't sit here and say that you deserve anything. You don't deserve anything.
Extreme ownership.
Yeah.
Take accountability.
You get
have
what
to.
you earn. Whatever you got is what you earned.
Right.
It's like, I deserve this. I deserve you deserve nothing. You don't even deserve freedom. You gotta fight. You gotta fight
every day
You
for
gotta
it.
fight for your freedom,
Yeah.
or else they're gonna tax you into slavery.
Get anything for free. You have to earn
Yeah,
everything.
you have to earn everything.
Yeah.
And maybe that was partially the whole thing about you get what you earn, right? I think that resonates more with people than offering them things, because you don't know. It feels nice to get something, but it feels better to earn something. And sometimes you don't know that. You don't know. You have to feel it.
Yeah, I think you do. It's they always say people need to be in a routine and work and do things. Otherwise, you just become irrelevant. You kind
Yeah.
of just sink into the background.
You got to feel you. It starts off from kids.
Right.
As soon as they could walk, they want to bring you stuff.
They do.
They want to help out.
Yeah.
And because they want to feel useful, they want to contribute. Everybody wants to feel like their efforts are useful in society, which is, oh man, hopping from topic to topic, but the whole COVID thing. I hated this. Everybody hated this. Essential jobs. Listen, wherever you work is essential. It's like, I'm not going to go to McDonald's, jump back there and fry my own burger, whatever. Whoever's working there is essential.
Here's my take on COVID. We should have never been shut down.
Yeah.
Here's why. Okay, we were all so stressed out. Close at this, lock this down. It's killing everybody. If it was that desperately scary, if we were all in such peril, why do we have an open border that's letting in all these people that are unvetted?
Oh, man.
COVID is
rehashing back it, yeah.
I hate that.
Yeah.
I think we were, I'm not saying it wasn't bad. There was certain groups that were more susceptible to that, right? Mm-hmm. Older people, et cetera, et cetera. But they took it to an extreme, and I think it was mostly because of Big Pharma. I believe that. It's just my opinion.
Big Pharma.
I just feel like it was a way to push this vaccine to everybody also.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I think looking back at COVID, it was very scary at how much Americans were just willing to say, take my rights. They just threw it.
Oh, God.
They just threw it away, and they said, take my rights. I'm not going to dispute anything you say. I'm not going to say, listen, this is against my freedom. This is against my rights. You're just going to do it, and you're even going to turn in your neighbors who had friends over for Thanksgiving. Well,
that goes with everybody. We spoke about it before, but everybody thinking that they were going to be the good guys. The heroes.
Yeah.
If this was Nazi Germany, I would be a freedom fighter. Like, no, you wouldn't. Yeah. Because you're the person that has 2 masks on, and you just snitched on your neighbor for having his nephew over.
Yeah, it was. It's maybe trivial to some people. There were high school kids that didn't have anything their senior year. Mm-hmm. There were kids that have been stuck in the house for years. There were babies that have speech impediment problems because they never got to see their mothers and fathers talking. They never got to see those
you have to see the face move.
Yeah, you have to see how the face is moving. And these things are going to be long-term effects that we don't see today. Yeah. But eventually we will. It's just like looking back at it, that was definitely
because they thought they were
move.
ugly.
It was
and then
more comfortable
also
for everybody to
it became a thing for
you. It was just, I feel sorry for the kids who were born in the COVID era because that's all they know. It's just that craziness.
I remember even seeing this kid was crying, and they tried to there was like a toddler, and they're trying to put the mask on his face.
The least accessible, group of people that would be affected by it.
And I was thinking that an animal naturally does not like you around where it breathes.
Correct.
You try to touch a dog's face, and it's like, they just get away from you because they think natural instinct you're trying to kill them.
Yeah, exactly.
So you putting that on a kid that doesn't understand language right now. He thinks, why is this person trying to kill me?
Yeah.
That's what's going through. That's why he was bawling tears. He's confused.
Well, crazy times.
Crazy times.
We have lived through some crazy times.
What was the saying? There was a saying that there's decades of history where nothing happens, and then there are weeks in history where decades happen. I might be chopping that quote to hell.
Something to that effect.
Yeah, something to that effect. Where there's periods where nothing happens, and then all of a sudden things just snowball, just avalanche right on you. And we lived through that time.
We are living through it.
We're still passing through the canal here.
Through it.
Yeah, we're still going through.
We'll see how
because
it goes. I also think with this second term for him, I think he's learned a lot, and I really see that he's going to try to get. Yeah. I think he felt also winning the popular vote.
Yeah, it was a mandate.
It was
definitely
a mandate to do it. I really do.
It was the majority.
Like I said, I don't worship Trump. I just feel like we needed something different apart from
something's got to shake up because
lifelong politicians that are just fathered into this position.
I spoke about this last time. These people?
They do nothing.
I mentioned it that these people aren't human.
No.
They don't have any idea of how anything works anywhere.
They don't.
If the zombie apocalypse happened and you had to form a group and you had to pick between the guy who was a mechanic down the street and a politician, you pick the mechanic any day.
Any day.
Any day. Because that's a skillful, intelligent person.
Absolutely. Absolutely. They have become elites. Yes. They really have. They have become elites.
But
they
here's
don't
the thing.
know how we live.
Not only that, but elites used to be respectable people.
Yeah.
And they're not They're not somebody you can look up to.
No.
It, I mean, normally when you have somebody who's on a higher tier than you, they've accomplished something in your field, something to where you could be like, that's the guy right there.
That's the guy, right.
You go to a wrestling camp, and who shows up? Guy that's like an Olympic champion. You're like, oh, look at that. Hey, listen to him. He was an Olympic champion. But it'll be like you show up to a wrestling camp, and you got 3 guys that did 2 weeks of JV wrestling. Right. That's what these people are like.
Yeah.
It's like, what are you teaching me? Like, oh, you guys, we're here for the working people. Cool. What job did you used to have? What's your experience? What, you used to work in a plant? Did you used to work somewhere? did you even own something? Okay, maybe you didn't work in a plant, but you owned one, right? You ran one. You were a manager. Nothing, none of that.
Nothing. It's exactly how that feels.
And then they lie about stuff, like with the whole
doubling down. The doubling down is insane. They want you not to believe your lying eyes. It should be their motto. Do not believe your lying eyes.
Oh, man. I'm ever since that McDonald's incident, I'm starting to believe that I don't think Joe Biden ever worked at the pool and had to face corn pop.
Nobody questioned this corn pop story?
The man's so old, you think there's any evidence of that?
Speaking of Joe Biden, did anybody see when he did that speech, how he jogged out?
Oh, I haven't seen it yet.
After Kamala lost, we always laugh that he shuffles out, feet not off the ground, his toes lifted up off the pavement. This man was excited about that loss.
Yeah.
I don't care what anyone says. He was excited about it.
Joe Biden.
Joe Biden.
Now, like I said, I am a Kamala sympathizer. I just find I feel bad for the lady because, listen.
It's just like a man, Captain Save-A-Ho. Typical man.
She's been in the public eye since she was in her 20s. Imagine not being able to have any human interaction in your young 20s. Everything is a political interaction. It's like, hey, Kamala, you're going to meet with the district DA. Make sure you say this, and this. Don't mention that. Don't do this. Okay, you can't have a conversation.
I did give him that point. She's definitely, and I've always said it, kind of like an empty vessel. I think she really was just a shell of a person.
Yeah, they needed somebody of that race, that sex, and they started grooming her.
She's not probably dumb. She's probably book smart, I would say. I don't know.
She passed the bar. She passed the bar. So
she got up there. She had to know something.
Yeah.
They helped her along the way. But I'm not as sympathetic as you are.
It's just
I don't know.
You hear her speak and it's painful.
It's very painful.
Like if somebody asks you a question that's just about your life and you have to pull from a story, you know, think about it. There's millions of stories you can tell.
Yeah.
This woman seems like she doesn't know what she can and cannot say.
She could not speak off the cuff. She just couldn't do it. It was too scripted. I think people saw through it. I must say, after the election, I really felt hope for America. I really did. I felt like, God, we're not lost.
Yeah.
We're not lost. We can see through what the propaganda was.
It was intense propaganda. And even though I still think it's kind of a little lost cause because I don't think I had the Kamala Harris supporter because I just want to hear, because I don't want to hear from somebody who's an idiot. Because you could find me a Trump supporter, some yokel somewhere, right, some redneck somewhere that doesn't know anything, and he says, "I like not Joe Biden. I like Trump because Trump is for the working man, and he maybe even a racist. He's a white guy, and I'm a white guy. You can find that guy. Pretty sure you can find that guy." But I'm not interested in that guy. Just like I'm not interested in the purple-haired, crazy feminist that says, we need a woman in office. I was like, okay, we could easily find a caricature. I want to find somebody, intelligent guy, lawyer, and see, okay, what is the case? Give me a good argument. And there still wasn't really anything that pushed me.
No, I think a lot of the people have become so engulfed and enthralled in all this personality politics too.
Yeah,
it becomes to where you're looking at how the person says this, or do you like them, or. If you were interviewing someone, personality has a little bit to do with it. But if that person could run your company like a greased machine,
Yeah.
you'd be like, I'm going to take that
It's
person
like
any day.
someone you could have a beer with. Like, listen, this is something that's never going to happen.
So I must say, we do have an Indian going to the White House, and it is J.D. Vance's wife.
Oh yeah, J.D. Vance's
There's
wife.
our Indian sister. She's going.
That's
to
another thing that made me feel bad for Tim Waltz, because I felt bad for both of them.
Let's just be honest, right? He was jealous of J.D. Vance.
Not only that, but Tim, you should have never called JD weird, because
Weird
it turned.
and gay.
Yeah, I don't know about the whole. I don't know what was going through his head. I think Tim was just having
And I
a
said,
breakdown.
where's the left? They should
Yeah.
be very offended
Yeah.
by this, because when did being gay become an insult?
Yeah,
You
but the
know.
whole thing about calling JD weird, JD looks like the most boring guy on the planet.
Really does.
I don't think I could have a beer with JD because
Another
he's
thing,
boring.
Too, he's very boring.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's
because
very into politics.
yeah,
We would just not be so into politics.
Yeah, like we tune in to watch the vice presidential debate. That's must see TV.
Oh, it was must-see TV for me, and that's when I knew I was getting old, because I set my alarm and everything, jumped on the couch.
Oh, we
got
had
my
a
popcorn,
vice
ready to go.
presidential debate party.
Yes,
Yeah.
we did. It was insane, because at this point the ticket for the left was, for the Democrats was so bad
Yeah,
that we knew that the VP would be a little bit of an edge.
yeah.
And then JD went out there and killed it. One
Yeah,
thing about him,
with
that
his,
guy, great
baby.
for the wrong reason, very entertaining.
Entertaining. It's an
That's for
entertainment
sure.
age.
It's like a reality TV show.
But here's another one of my, I'm a conspiracy theory guy now. But here's my conspiracy. I think we live in the age of trolls. I don't think anybody's serious. We don't have any serious people anymore. Because I watched The View. The
Oh my
View's been
gosh.
harping on this. It is the end. He's gonna put us all in internment camps.
In
Meanwhile,
chains.
yeah, they're putting on a show still. They still have their show going on. It's like, really?
And they're still saying derogatory stuff, so they're not that scared.
Yeah,
They
you're
can't
not
be that
scared of somebody. I remember I was listening to a guy one time. He was talking about, I forget who it was, some celebrity, but he said that his wife looked at him and says, "You know what? Sometimes you scare me."
Not the truth.
Yeah,
You know what? I
it's
wish that
like
was true.
nothing that you do says that you're scared of anything I do. So it's the same thing with these people. They say
According
this.
to these receipts,
Yeah.
that's a lie.
Yeah.
You can only use these scare tactics.
I think that's why it's the boy who cried wolf. They keep on saying this stuff. Meanwhile, they're having their show. They're talking trash. And I mean, what do they think? A bunch of 60-year-old women are like, "We're gonna fight." It's like,
But
who are you
here's
gonna
the
fight?
thing, Sunny, that girl on there, Sunny Halston, is that her name?
I think so.
She's doubling, tripling down on the abuse of men.
But the thing
She
is, though,
continues to
I
say
swear they're
misogyny.
trolls.
I
Well, here I had this tape. So there was a woman that was on TikTok or something, right? And I forgot. She was bad talking firefighters, and she said, "For all you firefighters out there who think you're high value men because you make $60,000 a year, you're not high value men." And I was thinking, who would say that? There's nobody that's going to be on your side. Because as a
I don't know.
firefighter,
You
but the thing is, nobody dislikes firefighters. If a firefighter shows up, there is no situation where like, "Oh my God, here's a firefighter."
Right.
You obviously need this guy here. So I think her thing was, you know what? This is gonna get me fame because everybody's gonna hate what I'm saying, repost
Comment on
it,
it.
comment, repost, trash talk, because. I mean, you can't be that dumb. You know you're not going to find any supporters there.
I don't know.
But because the thing with police officers, if you talk bad about police officers, you got 50-50. Half people hate them, half people love them, so you can get supporters or whatever. Firefighters, you're going to get so many people against you.
yeah.
So it's just you have to be trolling. So I think these people are trolling.
Maybe they are. Everybody's looking for that quick
Yeah.
5 seconds of fame and to get something to go viral.
Yep.
So it could
It's
be
just-
the case.
Just
Oh,
getting
wait
your
a minute.
name out there.
It's
You realize
so-
who's the original troll is Trump.
Yeah.
Remember, that was a New York thing. He just had to get himself in the newspaper. And his whole thing was, it doesn't matter if they're saying good things or bad things
as
about
long
you.
as you're getting the
Yeah, as long as they're
publication, yeah.
talking about you.
Yep.
If they're talking about you, you're winning.
I mean, I can't say it's not the truth because
Yeah.
the garbage truck thing was completely fantastic.
He's just good at this stuff.
He's just good at this stuff. He's
Yeah.
funny. He's
He's
just
like,
naturally funny.
She never worked at McDonald's. I've worked
We
longer
had
at McDonald's.
The best economy and history of our country. That's just the way he talks.
Yeah.
No matter what he does.
But here's the thing. I don't think she ever worked at McDonald's.
She never did. She never did. She never did. She never worked at McDonald's. And she doesn't have a Glock, I promise you. That's a lie, too.
Because the thing is, she doesn't realize all the lies she tells. It makes her look really bad, because remember she said she smoked weed and she inhaled and everything. And I was like, oh, really? Did you do that when you were making it a criminal offense in California?
Well, you know, my brother brought up that was a spoiler. He is my brother. Oh, man. Anyways, he brought up a good point today when we were watching the Shay Shay. Actually, the Shay Shay, I think we talked for 2 hours and we watched like 10 minutes.
20 minutes
of
it.
It was insane. And we kept pausing every 2 minutes. He was saying about the chess reference. And he said, yeah, you tell it what you said you would do if you...
She said her uncle played chess. And the thing is, she was trying to give a reference. And she was saying, like, you have the board and you know the pieces. She never mentioned a specific piece of the chessboard.
Right.
And if you played chess, you would say something. And you would maybe make like if obviously you had the story in her head, you would make a reference to a specific move of a chess piece. So for instance, you might say, my uncle taught us how to play chess. And sometimes you can't attack straightforward like a rook. Sometimes you have to take an angle like the knight would. You would know a piece, and she should have practiced this. Say something. It's like sometimes you just can't talk straight ahead.
So,
something.
And then he said, you know, if I had my eyes wide open, I would just pull out the chessboard and be like, your move, Kamala. Your move.
Your move. Let's go. Pull out the chessboard.
Let's go. Let's see what your uncle taught you.
Yeah.
You know,
she would have walked off.
It's just stupid stuff like that. And I'm sure she's not a terrible person.
No.
It's just she's not genuine, and people saw through that. Yeah,
well,
just crazy.
I was saying earlier too. I don't think I tend to not believe in heroes and villains, because most people think they're the hero. Most people want to be the hero of their story, and sometimes it's just they have different ways of getting there.
I just think in the whole scope of things, right?
Yeah.
There are areas in your life where it varies, and then it also depends on who's viewing you.
Yeah.
You know, you may be a hero to one person, and the other person, you know, this guy's just a...
Yeah. I'm pretty sure someone will find there are some people who are just villains, but we're saying the majority of people, the
loosely, generally speaking.
The center means one standard deviation is left or right.
Right.
We're not worried about the outliers. There are some people who are superheroes and some people who are villains. We're not
looking at the fringe.
Yeah,
we're looking at just the general.
You could always find a 7-footer walking around out there.
Yeah, we're not talking about serial killers or anything like that.
Yeah, they're definitely villains.
Yeah, we're talking about the general scope of everyday people, everyday Americans, you know.
Yeah, not Hitler.
Not Hitler.
Yeah.
You know, not a fascist like Trump.
Fascist. It's so ridiculous. Stupid. Should ask these people what a fascist even means.
They don't know.
They don't know. They don't know anything. They don't know.
You know what's crazy too is that if you ask young people, how does the government work? Or if you ask them just a simple question of what are the 3 branches of the government, they don't know.
Yeah.
But, you know.
Oh, man. I would talk about this all day with the whole my voting thing. We want less people voting. More people informed.
Voters voting. Yeah.
You should not just want to go out. Did I make the reference on a podcast of driving a car? I want every 16-year-old to get a driver's license and drive. But that first part, get a driver's license. I would like them all to drive to experience the freedom. Doesn't mean we're just going to throw them in a car and say, drive now. They got to learn.
Right.
Got to learn to drive. I want anybody that's 18 to vote after you learn what you're doing. It's probably, I don't know if I want to make that reference that it's more important.
But have you listened to Vivek Ramaswamy, which is another guy on the pirate ship, and I do love him.
Oh, Vivek is great.
And a lot of people, and I think he should be like the, what does KJP do now? That'll be a good position for
Press
him.
secretary?
Yes.
Check in a box.
Those boxes has to get that.
Would he be the first Indian man?
Anyone who wants to vote should take a test
by
driving.
Yeah.
You know, it's just...
The only problem with that is that somebody says, like, who's giving the test? What if the Democrats come up with a test?
Well, then maybe we just need to go back to the principle of where you're learning about U.S. history and government in schools.
I mean, I think there should be a test too, but it should be something that we could kind of like have a universal test that everybody just kind of agrees on, that these are the things.
How does the government work?
Yeah.
Because they
couple
think
of
Trump
things.
can go in there and be a dictator, and that's impossible. It's just impossible. So we need to learn how the government works. That I think would be just a baseline to start with.
Yeah.
But I mean, we're just shooting out opinions because we lived through the 80s and 90s, and it was a different country.
Yeah.
And now we're in this new era, and it's just mind blowing to us. And we were just discussing it, saying, do you think that it's changed, or is it just that we're more aware? And it's definitely changed.
I asked a lot of old people, and they say it's definitely changed.
Yeah. Yep. I was telling you about the coworker who's an older woman that has lived through Carter. Lived through all these kinds of things. She remembers price controls with the gases, people lining up. And what they did was they did letters in your last name. If you were this through this, you go on this day. If you were this through that, you go on another day. And she said she's never seen it this bad in her lifetime. So for someone that's my senior that's telling me that, it's not just me. It's just crazy.
If you ever look up, there's a president. Yeah.
We all want the same things. Prosperity, mostly.
Yeah, I was mentioning earlier, too, that just giving people stuff is never good. No. I know people, they think they want stuff, but they would rather work. So when you start offering people stuff, it just makes them feel bad. It's like, don't offer me anything.
Well, I think they've created a society, though, where it's become the norm of where people are expecting these handouts.
What can you do for me?
What can you do for me? Or I've deserved this.
Yeah.
It used to be back in the days that we didn't deserve anything. We had to work hard for everything.
And I think earlier people like to work.
They do like to work.
I was just saying earlier, there's an old man. He's 70-something years old, retired. He works driving the shuttle van back and forth because he just wants to work. He doesn't want to sit around at home.
But he's Indian. That's different.
He's an Indian guy. That's why the Indian people have that reputation. But it used to be, I said this earlier, it used to be all immigrants had that reputation. Yeah. They just wanted to work. They just wanted to do something.
I would say people in even the 70s, and I don't know, the family unit was different back then.
Yeah.
People had values. You look at even the way that people dressed. They carried themselves with more of pride.
Oh, so to pull out a Guyanese saying that nobody's going to get the reference when you were a kid, right? But the thing is, I've asked other people of other races, like other foreigners, about this. I was like, when you were a kid, you stayed away from your parents because the phrase goes, I ain't get work for do.
Oh, check your book.
And what that means is you guys don't have any work to do because you're over here causing trouble. So you want to stay away from the adults because if that was said to you, that means now it's chore time.
Yeah.
Oh, you fix this, pick up that, sweep that, do this.
Yeah.
So it was a thing to where if people wanted you to keep moving, doing something. If you're out of sight, out of mind, that's fine. But if you're around making too much noise or something like that around the adults, they would make you do something.
That means you needed something to do.
Yeah, that means like, okay, you're over here bothering me. Okay, you have nothing to do. Here, grab that broom.
Yeah, and it's just become to where we want to praise the most minute of things. We don't. Someone who's exceptional, we feel bad to even say you're exceptional.
Yeah.
There's nothing for anybody to be aiming towards.
Mm-hmm.
It's like everybody's just happy with just being the mundane.
Yeah.
The most just basic. And that's not how you build a strong country. It's not. When you push people, I'm not saying hazing, all that stuff. We're not talking about fringe crazy things. We're talking about competition where it's always been. You have someone that you're saying, oh my God, that person's gaining straight A's. How can I get to that level? You have to have a certain amount of push
that all started
pressure.
too. Where they want to get rid of valedictorians and all that.
You can't do that. You have to give people goals. It's just you have to set an expectation. This is where you need to go, and this is what you have to do to attain that. If you make everything easy, you have a failing society.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know. I think when you get older, maybe you pay more attention, or maybe you just remember how different it was. I can't know what the explanation is, but I don't remember ever feeling this way 15 years ago.
No, things
20
have
years ago.
definitely changed.
It definitely changed. There's a shift,
Yeah.
Maybe the pendulum's taken a longer time to swing from center to get back into center again. It's gone. Left America.
It's
left America.
It left America. But that's the thing. Like I was saying, his election has saved the country, because if it would have went to Kamala, that means it would have been so far gone that when it swung back right, the overcorrection would have been not
Insane.
something,
It
not
would have
something
been
you want.
insane. My main thing is, and I believe this in my heart of hearts, the wars will end. The wars will end. Like my brother was saying earlier today, a simple question is, what can we do about these wars? And Trump's basic answer was he's tired of seeing people die.
Yeah.
He wants the people to stop dying.
Uh-huh.
And that goes for everybody. And you have to realize we do have people that want war.
Yeah.
It's a big business. Their sons don't have to go. Their daughters don't have to go. These people their pockets are lying very deep.
Oh, yeah.
So if
Oh,
we can,
the Liz Cheney thing that he keep lying about. He did not say he wanted her killed. It's a simple analogy. If you want war, you're not going to war. So when he says, give her a rifle, it's obvious what he's saying. How come she doesn't go to war?
right.
It's easy.
As a matter of fact, if you look at the video in the entirety, he says, she's soft, she's not strong, she would never
Yeah.
be able to do it. So he kind of elaborates on, I'm going to
Yeah.
tell you this. I don't think Trump's a great debater.
Uh-huh.
I don't think he's very articulate. He may not be, I don't
He's a
know,
plain
he's very
speaker.
brash. He's not
Yeah.
a great speaker. I want to say, though, one thing about him is, what you see is what you get.
Yeah.
And I really trust that as opposed to someone who's always a chameleon. What you see is what you get with him. He can't be all that dumb.
Yeah.
He's raised kids that you never hear anything about, and he has money.
Yeah.
He's been one of the greatest capitalists that we had in American history.
Oh, yeah, that's another thing we saw in Club Shay Shay, which I don't buy. So you tell me his dad gave him $400 million when, in the 70s? Somebody do the inflation numbers on that.
I
How
don't
much
even
money
know
is
his
that
dad's
now?
name. What's his dad's name?
It's got to be Trump to $1 billion today. It's got to be double,
We
right?
need someone to Google what the equivalent would be
Yeah.
in the times.
But
That's-
can we check on that? Can you Google
$400 million?
$400 million in 1970 after inflation, like what today's numbers?
Yeah, what that would be.
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause
we
that's-
got our engineer googling that.
Yeah,
we'll
she's
we'll
the
talk
best.
about it. Yeah, but
love her.
yeah, I don't think that's true, because first of all, who would have that much cash on them today? Which rich person?
What I want to say, though, is if anyone gains an inheritance, right? Let's say right now, we got lucky and some Patel that we knew back in India
Yeah.
came and was like, oh, God, yes, you guys,
You
get
won the
$1 million.
FIFA, or you won the FIFA lottery.
You get $1 million.
Yeah.
Anyways, we get the money.
Yeah.
If we didn't invest and grew that pot of money,
Yeah.
where would the money go?
There's a lot of people who invest money and
Yeah,
lose
it
it all.
takes work, and you have to get. I know you hate Trump. People hate Trump and this and that and the other thing, but you have to give him props where he's due. Like,
Yeah.
you have to invest. You have to find a way to make it work. Regardless, I have to say the man has probably the biggest set of cojones. You can give him that. And I was telling my brother today, I said, when I listened to the first assassination attempt video, I said, he kept saying, I need my shoes. Where are my shoes? And I was like, how expensive are these shoes? I mean, I would be more worried about if I'm going to get shot in the head.
Yeah.
I don't know.
What's the number? You got it?
Yeah,
How much?
I can't even read it.
Oh.
Over a billion?
How many zeros you got?
Alright, so there's 10 digits before the point 20.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wait, 400 million? No, it can't be that much.
So if you probably just put it. So 400 million in the 70s?
Yeah, let me see. Look at the what is that? Inflation that's still coming to let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, over 3 billion. Over 3 billion. So tell me who has $3 billion sitting around today. Oh my goodness. It's like that's the thing about these people. They just say stuff and expect nobody to ever look it up. And nowadays you can
Well-
look things up. You can probably go, someone will go like, Siri, how much is $400 million from 70 compared to today? And it's like, no, there's no way. Who has $3 billion laying around?
Right, just
You
sitting
ask
around.
Elon Musk. Like, people hear Elon Musk is worth $50 billion. If you said, Elon, give me $1 billion tomorrow, he's gonna be like, impossible. Where am I
By the
gonna get
way,
that much cash
have
from?
you seen that rocket? That one story.
Yeah, yeah. Oh
Trump
man, that was
overtells story.
amazing.
That was amazing. Yeah, the chopsticks. Listen, this is why we have to let private businesses do their thing.
Yep.
They have been, I mean, how far ahead are they of NASA? NASA has people
NASA
still
doesn't
stuck up in
do
space.
anything right now. It's-
Boeing and
but
NASA has
the
people
thing is,
stranded in space.
NASA used to be incredible.
Incredible. Remember when we were kids?
When did JFK say that he was gonna land somebody on the moon, and like 4 years later they're on the moon? Let's move on to our rapid fire segment.
Boy.
Rapid. I'm gonna pull up the timer here.
Who's doing rapid fire? Me?
Yeah, Claudia's gonna have the stuff ready to fly.
Go easy on me.
Let me just get a timer going.
What if I just answer every question? Well, first of all, I'm from a middle-class family. Do I get a pass because I'm Indian?
Yeah. You'd probably claim black or something.
I could, you know. Well, I can't because they would probably Google, because I'm a conservative, they Google my DNA results and it's 100%. It's just many shades of Indian.
Let's see. Okay, so.
If you had to pick one, Florida or Georgia, which one is a better state and why?
That's a rough one. Currently, I would have to say I would pick Georgia. Mainly because my kids are kind of rooted there. They feel like it's their home.
That's the end.
That's the answer.
Oh,
I'd
all right.
pick Georgia.
Okay.
You have 2 daughters. Which is a favorite?
Oh God. I honestly don't. I don't have a favorite.
Oh, you have to pick one.
If I had to save one off a cliff, this is too controversial. I can't pick one. I honestly can't pick one. I love them evenly, but in different ways, and that's the truth. Yeah, I can't. I can't. You know, Rob would say I'd pick him. he would try to interject himself into the scenario. I can't pick one, and that's the truth.
All right.
Is there anything Trump could do to lose your support in his upcoming administration?
Oh God. To lose my support. I really think the only way I would be very dissatisfied with Trump is if he really didn't try as hard to get all the stuff done. I think he's trying to make some really good cabinet choices, and I want him to just focus on work. I don't want him to play into the name calling and all that anymore. I want him to just be what he said he was going to be. I don't think he'll lose my support. He is who he is, and I followed him this far, unless he doesn't do what he says he's going to do.
Cool. All right, next question.
Where do you think you'd be had you not migrated to the U.S.?
Oh my God. Judging from where we grew up, I'd probably be excommunicated because I've always been very bold. I've just always been very bold, and I think if I was living still in Guyana, I may have been, I don't know, an entertainer, a school teacher, something out of the norm of what they expected.
Entertainer, you'd have been a coolie singer.
A coolie singer, yeah. I'd be singing some soca songs.
All right. Next question.
Do you think Diddy is guilty of all the allegations?
I'm going to go with the very neutral answer here. I need to see all the evidence. I need to see all the evidence. I also, I don't want to pass judgment on anyone at this point. I know he's done something, but I need to see all the players involved, and I really need to see the evidence because I know how the law works. So I need to see the evidence. I'll leave it at that for Diddy.
Well, I know that what Diddy ruined it for all of us that want to actually just buy a bottle of baby oil.
Oh. Also, didn't he say Costco's is where he bought all the
Costco's.
And Costco's came out and said, we don't sell these large quantities of baby oil.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Costco's wanted nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
I'll tell you this, when you have friends, you have friends. But when they're ready to drop you, you're alone on that island.
Yeah.
So the best thing I've learned in life is only depend on you. Like Tony Montana, I depend on me. I only have me.
All right, so that is it. That was our interview section for Eyes Wide Open with our
Family
guest.
Reunion Edition.
Family Reunion Edition. All right, that is it.